If you've ever sat at the dinner table and asked your kid some version of, "Are you using AI for stuff?" and they said, "A little," and you passed the bread and moved on, that's the moment I want to start with, because you asked. The conversation has been had, the handle's held. Here's the question I want to answer. When your kid says, "A little," how off is that answer? And is the gap something you can close just by asking the question again, more pointedly? Because if the gap is small, the dinner table version is enough, and the platforms are mostly handling the edges. If the gap is load-bearing, if "a little" is covering the use cases the platform's own internal documents flag as unsafe, then the conversation you thought you had isn't a conversation, and the next surprise won't be a small one. Most parents who care about this are paying attention. They've asked. The answer they got, homework help, summarizing things, the occasional "look it up," sounded reasonable enough to stop pulling on the thread, and the macro data backs that read up. Pew Research Center, which runs one of the cleanest paired teen and parent surveys in the country, fielded one in October. The top 3 things teens report using AI for: searching for information at 57%, schoolwork help at 54%, summarizing articles and videos at 40%. Exactly the uses the dinner table answer described. So I sat down to figure out what a reasonable, tuned-in parent could know about their kid's AI use. I walked through the obvious moves. Ask the kid directly. Glance at what apps are on the home screen. Check what the school's syllabus says about AI. The kid's answer pointed at homework help. The apps were the ones you'd expect. The picture cohered. If you've done this exact walkthrough, you've probably landed in the same calm spot I did. Except on a third pass through the same picture, one thread didn't line up. The friend the kid mentioned in passing wasn't a school friend. It was a chatbot. Months of conversations. Not flagged, not in the homework category. Hadn't come up in the dinner table version of "a little." But the Pew numbers don't read like a one-off. The average parent's read on their teen's AI use is off by 13 percentage points. And 42% of parents say they've never had the conversation at all. The tuned-in parent baseline doesn't hold. Here's what "a little" actually contains under the surface. Common Sense Media, the child media nonprofit, surveyed about 1,000 teens last summer. A third have talked to AI about something serious instead of going to a real person. A third say the conversations feel as satisfying or more satisfying than talking to a real friend. Pew's number for teens using AI specifically for emotional support, 12%. The number of parents comfortable with that use, 18%. The American Psychological Association put out a health advisory in November, calling teens particularly vulnerable because they don't push back on bad answers, and saying the tools lack the scientific evidence and necessary regulations for mental health use. Then there are the named teenagers. Sewell Setzer, 14 in Florida, spent months talking to a Character.AI chatbot. His mother filed a wrongful death suit. Google and Character.AI settled in January. Adam Rain, 16, started with ChatGPT for schoolwork in the fall of 2024. By January of 2025, according to his parents' complaint, the model was supplying detailed instructions and offered to draft his note. He died in April. His parents are in court. I spent 2 hours with the primary sources: the Common Sense survey, the Pew Gap, the Rain complaint, paragraph by paragraph. The Reuters write-up of Meta's own internal Gen AI Content Risk Standards document. The document, which Meta confirmed was authentic, explicitly said it was acceptable for the chatbot to have sensual conversations with children. The rule got changed because a reporter called, not because anyone inside the building had looked at the sample response to a shirtless 8-year-old and thought twice. The picture that came out of those 2 hours didn't look anything like the dinner table picture. The homework layer was real, but there was a second layer underneath it the parent answer didn't reach. This isn't hypothetical anymore. 2 filed wrongful death suits with named teenagers. The Federal Trade Commission opened an inquiry in September into 7 companies: Google, Meta, OpenAI, Snap, Character, xAI, and one more. California passed the first state law in the country specifically about AI chatbots and kids, which took effect in January. So if the average parent's read is 13 points off, and a quarter of teens are having conversations the parent never sees, then I asked them and they said a little isn't a safety check. It's the gap measuring itself, which means the thing that closes the gap can't be a better version of the same question. The gap is what's costing parents, not the AI. Closing it isn't banning the tool. It isn't trusting the platform. It isn't even asking the question more often. It's collecting specifics, because the research says something the discourse keeps stepping over. The shape of the AI use is the variable, not the use itself. 2 randomized trials make this concrete. The first, published in PNAS, a major peer-reviewed journal, ran about 1,000 high schoolers through a math curriculum. One group got vanilla ChatGPT for practice. One group got the same ChatGPT with tutor mode instructions, hints instead of answers. One group got nothing. During practice, the vanilla group looked 48% better than control. Then everyone took the exam without AI. The vanilla group did worse than the no AI group. They hadn't learned the material. The AI had done the work for them. The tutor mode group, same model, hints instead of answers, matched the no AI group. The harm went away. Same tool, different shape. The second is Stanford's Tutor Copilot study. 900 tutors, 1,000 students. AI assisting a human tutor in real time, surfacing better questions, less generic praise, lifted student mastery by up to 9 percentage points for kids paired with less experienced tutors. AI helping a person help a kid works. AI replacing the person doesn't. So the empirical base does not say AI is bad for kids. It says the design determines the outcome, which means a parent needs to know which design their kid is on. Companion bot, vanilla chatbot, tutor mode, school deployment. And most don't, because the dinner table answer doesn't sort for it. I tried swapping the question. Not, are you using AI? Show me the last 3 conversations you had with it. The answer changed shape immediately. The homework prompt was there, the summary request was there, and there was a third thread the original answer hadn't surfaced, which was the one worth talking about. The specifics did the work the general question couldn't. What I want you to take from this is that the gap itself is the signal. The variable to track isn't, is my kid using AI? That question is settled. The answer is yes, and 64% of their friends are too. The variable is the size of the distance between the version of their AI use you're carrying around in your head and the version that's actually happening. The dinner table answer, a little, is a measurement of that distance, not an answer to the question you thought you were asking. The kid who tells you a little might mean it the way you mean it. They might also mean a little, except for the conversations I don't think you'd want to know about, which is most of them. You can't tell from the word. You can only tell from the specifics. If I were you, I'd stop treating a little as the end of the conversation and start treating it as the start of one. The platform's own internal documents, when reporters can pry them loose, say they knew their products weren't safe and only fixed them when someone called. The lawsuits are landing in the exact corner of the parents didn't know. California's law starts from the assumption that the platforms won't self-regulate. None of that is a substitute for being the one in your kid's life who actually knows what the use looks like. Back to the dinner table. Same parent, same kid, same bread. The question is different this time. Not, are you using AI for stuff? Show me the last 3. The bread gets passed again. The answer takes long, this time. And it doesn't sound like a little, it sounds like specifics, which means the gap just got smaller, which is the only thing on this whole problem that actually was in your hands the whole time. That's the memo. Read.